Hey, this is Ciderhelm. I wanted to, well, this is per request on the YouTube channel. I wanted to cover each of the passive abilities for the Barbarian. So you have to reach level 10, and then all of these unlock. You can't use all of them. They unlock on their own. But we unlock enough that we can see them all. So I wanted to go ahead and do this per request, cover all of the passive abilities available to the Barbarian. And I'll cover the active abilities as well. But first, let's go ahead with the passives, because that seems to be the one that people are interested in. So the ones that we have available already in the game, I could get Weapons Master as well, but the ones that we have available already in the game, Bloodthirst, gain 10% of all damage done as life. Pound of Flesh increases the chance of finding a health globe by 25%, and you gain 100% additional health from health globes. Health globes are commonly found, I mean, they're everywhere on the ground, and they'd be even more common. So if you kill a large pack of mobs, you're likely to get at least a couple of these health globes around, so increasing that chance and getting additional healing from it. I can see how that'd be useful. Ruthless, critical hit chance increased by 5%, critical hit damage increased by 50%. Weapons Master, gain a bonus based on the weapon type of your main hand weapon. Swords and daggers have 10% increased damage. Maces and axes have a 10% chance to critical hit. Polearms and spears have 10% attack speed. And mighty weapons give 1 fury per hit. Fury is your resource. Inspiring presence, the duration of your shouts is doubled. While benefiting from Warcry or Battle Rage, you regenerate 20% of your total life per minute. Battle Rage, Threatening Shout, Warcry. Threatening Shout typoed. Interesting.
Surely there is someone out there who would benefit
from
our aid right now.
He's bored. He talks when he's bored. Berserker Rage. You inflict an additional 20% damage while at maximum fury. Animosity. Increases fury generation by 10%, and maximum fury is increased by 20. Fury is used to fuel your most powerful attack. Okay, I guess that's not important. Superstition. Reduces all non-physical damage by 20%. Whenever you take damage from a ranged or elemental attack, you gain 3 fury. That's 2 separate components, so reduce all non-physical damage by 20%. And from a ranged elemental attack, you gain 3 fury, so again, your resource. Tough as Nails. Increases armor by 100%. Thorns damage dealt increased by 100%. Okay, so that's going to be, that just helps out your gear, and it's probably for, if you want to build more as a tank, this would be the way to go. No Escape. Increases the damage of Ancient Spear and Weapon Throw by 100%. In addition, killing an enemy with Ancient Spear automatically resets the cooldown, and killing an enemy with Weapon Throw returns 20 fury. So these are just buffs to your actual abilities. Relentless. While below 20% life, all skills cost no fury, and all damage taken is reduced by 50%. Okay, so that's going to be an interesting one. Keep yourself real low. I'm not sure exactly what you'd want to build to synergize with it, but I'm sure that will be taken advantage of in some way. Brawler. As long as there are 5 enemies within 8 yards, all of your damage is increased by 30%. Okay, so just handling AoE groups. Interesting. Juggernaut. The duration of control impairing effects, i.e. CC, crowd control, on you are reduced by 20%. In addition, whenever you become stunned, feared, or charmed, you recover 15% of your maximum life. I'm not sure if you'd want to use that offensively or not. I just don't know, but it definitely seems good for, again, going a little beefier, a little tankier. Boon of Bulkathos. The cooldown on your Earthquake, Call of the Ancients, and Wrath of the Berserker skills is reduced by 30 seconds. Again, based on the active abilities. Unforgiving. You no longer degenerate fury. Instead, you gain 1 fury every 5... That is fantastic. You gain 1 fury every 5 seconds. So what that's referring to is you lose fury as you're not in combat, you are actively losing fury. Instead of losing fury, you'll actually be gaining it at a very, very slow rate. But it's certainly, you could idle out and have a full fury bar. So if you were going through town or something, you just spent all your fury, you could probably, after you get back out and in combat, have enough fury to open up with something big. Okay, so passive skills, you get 3 of them. Level 30 is the key. You know, as soon as you hit level 30, you will be able to put in whatever you want, as far as I'm aware. Switch them around how you like. Right now, obviously, these are interchangeable. I don't have to pay anything to do that. That seems to be kind of the route that Blizzard is taking here. Okay, so on active skills, now I've done the playthrough videos for each class. If you want to see all of these in action, go ahead and watch those videos, because I do test out all of the abilities in the videos. But that said, let's go ahead and cover these. Fury generators, again, Fury is your resource. You're going to be generating this, and it will disappear without that passive that we just discussed. So Fury generators are things that generate Fury, as the name implies. Bash, brutally smash an enemy for 145% weapon damage with a 20% chance to knock the enemy back. Cleave, swing in a wide arc to deal 120% weapon damage to the target enemy and 60% weapon damage to any other enemies caught in the swing. That's kind of my standard bread and butter attack, as you saw in the second Barbarian playthrough. Leap attack, leap into the air, dealing 40% weapon damage to all enemies within 8 yards of your destination. Only generates Fury if you hit an enemy. Again, this is a core Barbarian ability. You love this, you want this, you will use it all the time. Ground Stomp, shake the ground to inflict 30% weapon damage to all enemies within 12 yards and stun them for 3 seconds. This does work so far on everything that I've tried it against in the beta. The stun, there's nothing that's been immune to stun that I've been aware of. So it's pretty good, just as something, but what I found is that it would be more useful once I have more active ability slots available to me. Okay, so Frenzy. Swing for 80% weapon damage. Each swing increases attack speed of Frenzy. This is the same attack by 15% for 4 seconds. This effect can stack up to 5 times for a total bonus of 75% attack speed. I have tried this. I tried it on the Skeleton King in my last playthrough. It's a little annoying to it's a little annoying to keep up if you want to use any other abilities. I'm not sure. It seems like it's going to be very good. It seems like in single target situations, you're going to want to switch this in, and it seems like there's going to be gear, a number of things, talents of whatever sort that they're putting in that are going to make this even more beneficial. At 5 stacks, it is doing more damage than as far as I'm aware, damage per second should be higher than the other abilities. I could be incorrect on that, but that's what I was looking at in my head when I was looking at it. Warcry. Generate 50 Fury. That's a lot of Fury. Cooldown 30 seconds. Unleash a rallying cry to increase the armor of you and all allies within 30 yards by 100% for 60 seconds. That's a lot of Fury, so I can... Again, not sure how the gameplay is going to play out, but I could see putting that on my toolbar and having it available just to get that Fury. Even if I'm not tanking, but it certainly looks more oriented towards tank support. Furious Charge. Rush forward, knocking back enemies and inflicting 60% weapon damage to enemies at the destination and 30% damage to enemies along the path of the charge. Only generates Fury if you hit an enemy. Pretty straightforward. Again, I can't test it, but if it's like Leap Attack, except that you're on the ground the whole time and like bowling pins, you're just going to go through them, deal damage. That should be pretty good. I do wonder about the distance on it. I hope it's as good as Leap Attack. Leap Attack is basically anywhere on my screen. In fact, I will just demonstrate this. I can't always go all the way to the corner, but I can go pretty far. So, 20 Fury, 10-second cooldown combined with... Okay, Leap Attack, 20 Fury, 10-second cooldown. Combined, those should be amazing. I'm sure we'll see a lot of good use of that. Ancient Spear, generate 20 Fury, cooldown 10 seconds. Throw a spear up to 45 yards to pull an enemy back to you, slowing target's movement by 50% and dealing 55% weapon damage. That should be interesting, especially if you can use it on harder enemies such as bosses. Yeah, it looks to me like a death grip, so combine that again with Furious Charge, Leap Attack. Should be pretty interesting. Okay, Furious Spenders. This is how we're going to be spending our Fury. Threatening Shout. Shout with great ferocity, reducing damage done by enemies within 25 yards by 50% for 15 seconds. I have not used this in the playthrough. Basically, anything that reduces damage or is tank-like is completely unnecessary in the beta. I have not reached anything difficult enough to warrant it. So it looks like a good skill. It looks like something, if you want to go tankier or just support, it looks like it's going to be a good thing. That said, I haven't used it very much. Hammer of the Ancients. Call forth a massive hammer to smash enemies around the target for 180% weapon damage and increases critical hit chance by 15%. With Hammer of the Ancients, It's a good skill. It's a lot of damage. Increases critical hit chance by 15%. I'm not sure what that means. I was looking at it earlier today. I don't know if it's like increases your critical hit chance for like 10 seconds or if it's just on that ability. I didn't see a buff though, and I didn't see a buff, so I'm not going to say anything with certainty, but it seems like it was just increasing the critical hit chance of that ability, or at the very least, it was not showing me an obvious buff when I had used it. I mean, I can just swing it in the air here, and actually I can't because I don't have the Fury. Okay, Battle Rage, cost 20 Fury. Enter a rage which increases damage by 30% and critical hit chance by 4% for 30 seconds. This one again, this is another stock one. I've used it quite a bit. I will try to keep it up every 30 seconds. I'll try to at least refresh it once. Between this and Hammer of the Ancients early on in the game, I find that I do want to keep the Battle Rage up all the time. The Hammer of the Ancients I find is what I'm not using as much as a result. Just because it's a pretty high cost between the two of them, 40 Fury. But again, we saw some of the passive skills, and we see that there are other abilities that are going to generate more Fury. So combined, it should make it so we can actually be more active in our ability usage. As you can see on my hotbar, I've got Hammer of the Ancients up, I've got Leap Attack, and I've got Battle Rage. Okay, Weapon Throw. Hurl a throwing weapon at an enemy for 210% weapon damage and slowing the movement of the enemy by 50% for 4 seconds. I used it, but I couldn't justify it. It only hit one enemy, unless I was mistaken. Only hit one enemy. Sure, it went quick. There was no situation where I actually needed to use it, and I can't spam it because I will immediately run out of Fury. And I'm not generating Fury because I'm not usually in melee range of... I'm not, somewhere that I can be generating that Fury. It could be good situationally. It probably will be fantastic in a lot of places.
Smiles.
But... take it for what it is. I didn't use it much in the playthrough. There's a reason for that. Whatever. Rend. 20 Fury. Perform a vicious strike to all enemies within 9 yards, dealing 60% weapon damage every second for 3 seconds. I didn't use this one much either, just because almost everything that I was fighting was dying within 3 seconds. So I didn't want to waste the cooldown, waste the energy on this. Again, because I wasn't even able to use Hammer of the Ancients very often, which is, 100% or 180% weapon damage with the extra crit, versus 60% weapon damage every second for 3 seconds, which adds up to 180%. So I didn't really use Rend very much. Seismic Slam. Slam the ground to cause a wave of destruction that deals 215% weapon damage and knockback to targets in a 45-yard arc. Could be fantastic. Have no way of playing through or trying this out in the beta. Sprint. Increases movement speed by 40% for 6 seconds. Okay, again we get into the movement stuff. So we have, again, Leap Attack, Furious Charge, Ancient Spear, not movement per se, moves the enemy, but Leap Attack, Furious Charge, and getting into Sprint. Okay, so this reminds me a lot of, the Warrior class in especially Wrath of the Lich King. I don't know what they've changed about the Warrior class in World of Warcraft and Cataclysm. I have no idea. But having the Intervene, having the Intercept, having the Charge available in combat, being able to do this is what the Barbarian reminds me of. Whirlwind, cost 8 Fury per second. Deliver multiple attacks to everything in your path for 40% or 44% weapon damage every 0.27 seconds. Whirlwind, iconic skill for the Barbarian, iconic skill generally. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll see how it plays out. That's something that I think everybody's going to be looking forward to. Okay, let's get into Situational. Now, I just glanced at this. It looked pretty tanky, but okay. Ignore Pain reduces all damage taken by 65% for 5 seconds. Revenge, inflict 150% weapon damage to all enemies within 8 yards and gain 5% life for each enemy hit. Revenge has a 10% chance to become active for a short time each time you are hit by an attack. So that's how it's activated, is by you getting hit by attacks. There's just a small chance for it to occur. I'm not sure if there's any way to improve that, but this is basically you're healing and you're dealing weapon damage back. AoE, so that's... Now 8 yards, I could be mistaken, but 8 yards seems to me to be a pretty short range. So we'll see how it plays out in large group encounters. Overpower. Press the advantage of a powerful attack to overwhelm the enemy for 150% weapon damage to all targets within 9 yards. Overpower becomes available whenever you make a critical hit against an enemy. So this is going to be pretty straightforward. You're going to get a lot of extra damage every time you crit. That's a good thing. So 150% weapon damage. How much does that cost? Oh, it doesn't cost anything at all. That's even better. I guess I'm in the situational tree. Okay. Now, as you were, situational tree can cost fury. Earthquake. Shake the ground violently, dealing 240% weapon damage, followed by an additional 150% weapon damage per second for 8 seconds to all enemies within 15 yards. Very high fury cost, 2-minute cooldown. Could be absolutely amazing where you can make use of it. Does it belong in your active skills? You decide. Call of the Ancients, 75 fury, 2-minute cooldown again. Summon the ancient barbarians Talik, Korlik, and Madak to inflict 100% weapon damage with each attack as they join the battle for 15 seconds. Talik wields a sword and shield and uses the whirlwind skill. Korlik wields a massive polearm and uses the cleave skill. Madak dual wields axes and uses the weapon throw skill. Okay, that's interesting. Wrath of the Berserker, 75 fury, 2-minute cooldown. So the last three have been 75 fury, 2-minute cooldowns. Enter a Berserker Rage, which raises several attributes for 15 seconds. Critical hit by 10, attack speed by 45%, dodge chance by 20%, movement speed. Again, here's the movement speed, 20%. Okay, so as you can see, the active skills, I'll just run over this. You've seen it in all the playthroughs, but for anybody who's not aware, you can only have a certain number of these skills available to you at any given time. Now, you can easily swap them out. I can just go through here and say, okay, I want weapon throw, or I want revenge, or whatever. You can easily swap them out, and you can swap them out on your hotbar, whatever. But you can only be using...
Neither should we.
The number of them that you have available is in the active skills is the only ones that you can have on your hotbar or active to use. And you can't do something like put on, say like Battle Rage. You can't apply Battle Rage to yourself and then go in and switch it and still have the Battle Rage buff. You cannot in any way benefit from these active skills if you do not have the active skills in your active skill slot. So there you go. So by level 24, you'll be able to have 6 of these available. So you'll have to decide which 6 of these do you want in your kit. And of course you can, as it stands currently, you can easily just swap these out between fights. You won't want to do that too much because it is pretty quick to get through situations. But there may be certain bosses, certain things like that where you want to switch over to a different kit. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this. This is a Barbarian class, and I'll be covering the other classes shortly.